So you are looking to move to Redmond, Washington. Well, no surprise, Redmond is one of the most sought after areas in Seattle. And in fact, one of its neighborhoods is the #1 neighborhood in the United States. Stay tuned to find out which one. All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over the top 5 neighborhoods in Redmond, Washington through niche.com. They just came out with their 2022 rankings for all of the neighborhoods throughout our country, cities, towns. They go deep into all of it. So I'm going to have links to all of that below as well. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you for joining me. I have videos about Seattle suburbs, vlog tours, breaking down different real estate terms, 101 training. I have baking videos. I love my job. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out and contact me. My contact information is down below. I get calls and texts and emails all the time from people looking to move to the Seattle area, and I am happy to help in any way that I can. In this video, I'm going to be going over the top 5 neighborhoods in Redmond. I'm going to start off with some Google Maps views, and we're going to look at the neighborhoods where they land in Redmond, kind of their position to Seattle, Bellevue, the SeaTac airport, and things like that, so you can get an idea of drive time and kind of how things lay out. And then we're going to hop in the car and take a drive and really take a look at the homes in these neighborhoods. I'm going to go over some stats for you, and we're gonna have fun. Let's go. All right, so I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, this is one of my longer videos so far, so it's taking quite a bit of work, but I've enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy it too. All right, let's go. All right, welcome to my computer. In this video, we are talking about Redmond and the neighborhoods associated with it, the top 5 neighborhoods. So here we are in the Seattle area. You have Seattle there, you have Bellevue. Down here you have the SeaTac airport. Give you an idea of where the airport is here. And up here we have Redmond. So we are primarily going to be talking about Southeast Redmond, Overlake, Grass Lawn, Sammamish Valley, and North Redmond. Redmond in itself has a pretty good mix of kind of an urban, suburban feel to it. It has just a ton of shopping and restaurants and everything, especially in the downtown Redmond area. There's a lot there. In these other neighborhoods, there's a lot of great parks. There's Marymore Park is part of Southeast Redmond. We'll talk about that in a bit. And that park is huge. And Sammamish Valley has one of the largest golf courses down here in the area. So we'll cover that as well. Just to give you an idea, the median home price in Redmond is about $1.8 million right now. And there is, just like everywhere else in the country, there's a massive housing shortage there. Just to give you an idea of some travel paths here. So when you're coming from Redmond, you'll primarily take, you could take 520 to get across to Seattle if you wanted to go that route. 520 is a toll bridge. Or you can take 405 down here to 90 and then take 90 into Seattle. And then 405 would also take you all the way down to SeaTac Airport as well. And then, of course, if you wanted to go anywhere on the north side of Seattle, any of the suburbs up there, you just take 405 north and you can head up that way. To give you an idea of drive time here, you've got from downtown Redmond, take you 26 minutes to get to Seattle. So keep that in mind. I'll give you kind of a good idea from the other locations, how long it'll take to get to downtown, and then you can kind of go from there as to the adjustments you would need. So that would get to downtown Seattle. That actually has you going right past Bellevue right here. So obviously it's going to be a lot faster if you're going to Bellevue probably closer to 20 minutes, depending on which way you go. Obviously, you could take some back roads in here as well. And Bellevue is kind of like the Twin City to Seattle. It's very, very expensive, upscale city for sure. From downtown Redmond, you are about a 40-minute drive from the airport, so that's not too bad. And that's with some pretty heavy traffic there on 405, as you can see. Now, traffic will vary throughout the day, and you don't have a whole lot of options. On I-5, there are some expressways that can make I-5 a lot faster, but you don't really have anything like that for 405, 90, or 520. So you're kind of just stuck with whatever the traffic is at the time. Redmond is really big for tech companies, especially Microsoft. Microsoft is huge in Redmond. Microsoft takes up basically this whole portion of Redmond right here, kind of half of the Overlake neighborhood. And then Seattle also is home to Amazon campuses. Facebook has some offices there too. So, wherever you are traveling, commuting in order to work, it's not a bad place to be. So Redmond is not only the #1 Seattle suburb for 2022, but it is also ranked the #1 suburb for young professionals. So we have a lot of young professionals heading out that way. It's no surprise. Redmond has just so much to offer, and it does have a really even mix of rent to own as well. So Redmond as a whole is right down the middle, 50-50 rent to own. So if you're not looking to buy right away, there are some rental opportunities there as well. All right, let's get into these top 5 neighborhoods. And at #1 on the list is Sammamish Valley. So niche.com actually has a little different borders than Google Maps does. It actually has it going out like so, kind of cutting over and then bringing in. So really all that does is add in this neighborhood into it, which is good that Niche did that. Otherwise, there's really no residential in Sammamish Valley if they didn't do that. So if I was to switch over to terrain view, you can see what I'm talking about here. So all of this residential, and then you have retail, and then this massive Willows Run golf course up here. They actually call it a golf complex, not a golf course. It's pretty awesome. I gotta be honest. And then you also have 60 Acres Park, and that has a north field and a south field, and that has a lot of soccer games and things like that for kids to do. If you've got a family, you want to put your kids into some sports, get them out there, do it. It's a great place to do it. Obviously, if you're in this neighborhood here, and this is primarily rent. The top part here is like townhomes and apartments, and then down here you have a lot of condos. But you do have this nice straight access with 90th Street here that can take you straight from your neighborhood into all of this shopping in this area. Or if you're trying to get to downtown Redmond, that's just a quick trip right here down 164th. So you're right around the corner from downtown Redmond. You've got cafes, you've got Trader Joe's if you want to do some shopping there, and the Redmond Library is there as well. So a whole lot there to offer, and that's not even touching on this huge this huge retail area right here, which has restaurants, gyms, stores, car repair, anything that you need. There's a good chance that it's in there. And this area also has the Redmond Saturday Market. So that is not that is not open at the moment, but the Redmond Saturday Market is a fairly large event for them. So I imagine that they will be back open here soon. All right, so let's
go take a look at our number one neighborhood for Redmond. Sammamish Valley is actually ranked number 10 out of the best neighborhoods to live in America. Number one, best places to live in Washington. Number one, best places to live in the Seattle area. And number one, best places to live in King County. In Redmond itself, it is the number one best neighborhood for young professionals, number one best neighborhood to live in Redmond, number 3 best neighborhood to buy a house in Redmond, number 4 best neighborhood to raise a family in Redmond, and number 4 most diverse neighborhoods in Redmond. The Sammamish Valley neighborhood has an overall grade of A+, public schools nearby, A+ rankings, has an A for nightlife availability, A+ for good for families. Health and fitness is an A+ there as well. So depending on where you are in Sammamish Valley, you may have access to Woodinville High School if you're up on the northern part of this neighborhood. Most likely you'll have access to the Redmond High School, which is actually ranked number 11 best public high school in Washington. So the Sammamish Valley neighborhood is about a 25-minute drive from downtown Seattle. It's about an hour drive to the airport down in SeaTac. The majority of people, about 70% in this area, actually rent instead of own. And the median home income in this area is about $150,000. All right, number 2 on our Redmond list. Come in here, that would be North Redmond. North Redmond, unlike Sammamish Valley over here, it is largely residential. There's not a whole lot of retail in that area comparatively. It does have some really nice parks in it though. So you've got the Woodlands Community Park, Playground Park, Woodlands Park here, and these all have nice trails around them too. North Star Park, Prescott. And there's another playground up there. So there's a lot of areas to get outside and really enjoy the space. There's some schools in this area as well. So you've got the elementary school here. So that's something to keep in mind. Traffic will get kind of backed up in this area specifically. So if that is where you are thinking of commuting, maybe watch the times that you do that. There's also Willows Preparatory School over here, which is kind of all lumped together with Washington Cathedral. And then it's got this nice gymnastics place back behind it as well. There is this little shopping area over here. The community market's here, which is really just kind of a healthy food store, if you will. As well as a pizza place and a Starbucks. So North Redmond is about an 8-minute drive to downtown Redmond. If you wanted to go down there, it'll be about the same even if you were to take this road. So it would be about the same if you were also going to the retail areas here in Sammamish Valley. But if you wanted to take a night out, go down to downtown Redmond and enjoy everything that has to offer, just 8 minutes away. All right, and with that, let's go take a look at some neighborhoods there. All right, so the North Redmond neighborhood of Redmond has an overall grade of A+. Public schools still A+ there. B+ with nightlife. Good for families, A+. Housing, A. In this area, we'll have access to Redmond High School. You could also have access to the International Community School, possibly, if you're able to get into that. There's Albert Einstein Elementary is also great, and that's in that same area. And I already covered Clara Barton Elementary and Willows Preparatory School. North Redmond neighborhood is actually ranked number 1 in the best neighborhoods to raise a family in America, for 25 best places to raise a family in America. Number 1 best places to buy a house in Washington. Number 1 best places to raise a family in Washington. Number 4 best place to live in Washington. Number 1 best place to buy a house in the Seattle area. Number 1 best place to raise a family in the Seattle area. Number 1 best place to raise a family in King County. Number 1 best neighborhood to buy a house in Redmond. Number 1 best neighborhood to raise a family in Redmond. It's no surprise people want to be here. It's really close by. I mean, you can get to Seattle in 30-45 minutes, Bellevue in about 30 minutes. 95% of people in North Redmond own their home. Median home values are higher in this area, and they do not go on the market often. There's only really been a couple sales in this area in the last 6 months, and they range anywhere from 1.5 up to 2.4 million. Median household income in this area is about $250,000. Next on our list we have Southeast Redmond. So Southeast Redmond is a really good mix of residential and retail. And a big bonus to Southeast Redmond is that it does have this access to 520 right here. So it's if you need to go to Seattle, Bellevue, SeaTac, wherever you're trying to go, you've got a really quick outlet there. Some things to point out about Southeast Redmond neighborhood. It does have some parks in it. So you'll notice a very large green section of this. It's almost half of it, right? Is actually part of this Marymore Park. So Marymore Park is huge. It's got some pretty cool features in it. It has a bunch of fields, so baseball, soccer, more baseball. It's got a huge playground in it. It also has this off-leash dog park that is pretty cool. That's big. There's trails and things that go through here too. And after this dog park, you can actually take your dog right on over to Wash Spot here, and that is a self-service dog wash. That way your dog is nice and clean when you bring him on home. Another playground here. So there's a lot of outdoor nature activities in this area, and that's really awesome part about this. So here on the main road is where you'll get a lot of your retail services here. Chipotle, always important, right? Mac and Jack's Brewery is down here. Mac and Jack's is really big in this area. You have Blazing Bagels. That place is great. You got your Home Depot here. You want to do any remodeling or any yard work or anything like that, that's up there. Fred Meyer, you got some grocery shopping. Target, Kohl's, and there's gyms here as well. In the Southeast Redmond area too, you actually have your own Costco here. So the Costco for the Redmond area is actually located right here. You switch over here, you get a much better feel for this, right? So you really get that lush greenery and outdoor nature space of Marymore Park. You have the retail here on each side of this road. You have a ton of retail, more retail up here as well as Costco. And then here in the bottom portion of this neighborhood is where you actually have the homes. So that's a nice mix of apartments, condos, townhomes, but there are a lot of single-family residential homes there as well. Then on the back side of this neighborhood, you actually have a large kind of industrial area, if you will, all in this huge area here. So, and then the back side of that is Arthur Johnson Park, so even more nature space and greenery here. All right, so let's take a look at this one. All right. The Southeast Redmond neighborhood of Redmond has an A+ overall grade. It's the same A+ public school, nightlife, good for family. Southeast Redmond is ranked number 7 best neighborhoods to raise a family in America. Number 2 best places to live in Washington. Number 2 best places to buy a house in Washington. Number 2 best places to raise a family in Washington. Number 2 best place to buy a house in the Seattle area. Number 2 best place to live in the Seattle area. Number 2 best places to raise a family in the Seattle area. Number 2 best places to live in King County. Number 2, best place to raise a family in King County. Number 2, best neighborhoods to buy a house in Redmond. Number 2, best neighborhoods to live in Redmond. Number 2, best neighborhoods to raise a family in Redmond. This area, you have access to the Redmond High School that's a little bit further north from here. The Tesla STEM School is just south of here. The Tesla STEM High School is actually ranked number 1 in best public high school in Washington State. Now this is a magnet school. There's a fairly even mix, about 60 to 40% rent to own. So about 60% of people here actually rent. You can find some condos in this area for about $750,000, all the way up to about $1 million. Single family homes in this area range from about $1.4 to $1.8 million. Median household income here is $130,000. Alright, so next on our list for Redmond neighborhoods is Overlake. Right down here. Overlake is centralized around 520. 520 kind of cuts through the middle of it right here. Now, Overlake is largely comprised of Microsoft. Microsoft takes up, I would consider, maybe 2/3, maybe half, but dividing line being about right here. So you have Microsoft on this side and residential neighborhoods on this side. There are a lot of housing options here, and there's some access to residential too. You know, being right here, you have direct access onto 520. You can head up to Redmond, or you can take 520 across and go all the way to Seattle if you want. It's nice, quick access, and you have the Bellevue Golf Course right across the way from you as well. That's not actually in Overlook, but that's close by, and the Bridal Trail State Park is pretty close by too. That's not very far. There aren't a whole lot of parks in the Overview neighborhood. A couple small ones here and there in the Microsoft area, and then there is the larger West Side Park here. You do have access to the Merrimore Park here as well. The entrance is right across from the West Side Park. So if I switch over to this view, you can see a little better what I'm talking about with Microsoft taking up a huge footprint in this area, whereas the residential takes up kind of this other corner of it. If you're looking to work at Microsoft, this would be a great neighborhood to live in. You are right next to where you're working, so that would be a very short commute. There's not a whole lot of retail in this portion of Redmond. Kind of here towards the bottom, you get a little bit, bakery there, Fred Meyer for some grocery shopping. They have an indoor go-kart track there. I've been there, it's pretty sweet, fast. And they also have a Safeway if you're not a big Fred Meyer fan. Again, this isn't technically in that neighborhood, it's right outside of it, but you do have close access to it. All right, you can see here, I have the map pulled up. If you were to hop onto 520 and take the highway to go into downtown Redmond, take you about 7 minutes, or you can just cut through the neighborhood here and go past Merrimore Park, and it's going to take you about the same amount of time. If you were to go to Home Depot or something like that, that would just be a couple extra minutes to head down to the next exit at 520, so not too bad. All right, let's take a drive around and see some homes in there. Overlake, like the rest of Redmond, has an overall ranking of A+. And with the public schools, so in this area, you may have access to the International School or the International Community School. You would have access to Interlake Senior High School, possibly Redmond High School. For Overlake's rankings, it ranked number 5 best places to live in Washington, number 5 best places to raise a family in Washington, number 5 best place to live in Seattle area, number 5 best place to raise a family in Seattle area, number 5 best place to live in King County, number 5 best place to raise a family in King County, number 3 most diverse neighborhoods in Redmond, number 4 best neighborhood to live in Redmond, number 5 best neighborhood for young professionals in Redmond, and number 5 best neighborhoods to raise a family in Redmond. About 60% of people in this neighborhood own their home. So it's about a 60-40 split, owning to renting. Homes in this area range from about 1.1 to $2.3 million. Median household income in this area is about $150,000. Okay, coming in at number 5, we have the Grass Lawn neighborhood of Redmond. Woo! Yeah, so Grass Lawn is mostly residential. Actually, if I click over here, you can see the satellite view, all residential. Now you can see here that there's Benjamin Rush Elementary School here, and then there's also Rose Hill Middle School, both of which are in the Grass Lawn neighborhood. So with that, traffic outside of schools kind of backs up. So some of these roads might get a little congested throughout here. If you were to take, Old Redmond Road to get most places, or 148th is also a huge road, then you'd be able to kind of skip past the majority of that. Right here in the center, kind of in the heart, you have Grass Lawn Park. It's a huge park, a lot of activities in it. Kids playgrounds, tennis courts, ball fields. Picture for you here. Yeah. So that's their huge playground area there. The soccer field. There's, like I said, there's a baseball field there too. And there's also Sprint Brook Park, just a smaller park. It's more of a playground. Honestly, a couple of picnic tables. But that's mostly it. Now there are some ponds here. Now these do have some, I can kind of zoom in here a little bit. They do have condominiums that surround them, so that you get kind of a nice view from your condos if you were to have one of the places there. So to give you an idea of drive time to downtown Redmond, you're about 5 minutes out from there, so you can easily take 148th to get over there, or there's some other roads as well. 148th is kind of the main road through here, so you would most likely take that one. If you were to get on to 520, you could take 148th down and hit a couple on-ramps down here, or you could just cut over closer to downtown Redmond and get onto 520 there in order to go to downtown Seattle or anywhere else that you're trying to go. So there are a lot of homes in this area. I won't be able to show you all of them, but let's go. Let's take a look at the drive there and see if you like the homes. Grass Lawn, like the rest of Redmond, has an overall A+ rating. A+ public schools. You have access to the schools that I pointed out already, but also you might have access to the International Community School, but you likely have access to the Redmond High School. Grass Lawn is ranked the number 6 best place to live in Washington, number 6 best place to live in the Seattle area, 6th best place to live in King County, number 3 best neighborhoods for young professionals in Redmond, number 5 best neighborhoods to live in Redmond, number 5 most diverse in Redmond. About 60% of people in this area own their own home. The other 40, of course, rent. The median household income for that area is about $130,000.
All right, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly or leave a comment down below. Go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell so you're notified next time I release more real estate information about the Seattle area, or the next time I release a baking video. If you're into those, I have a whole book of recipes that I am trying to make videos of, and those will kind of trickle out here and there. As always, my name is David Stallings. I am a real estate broker with Windermere, and I am the Baking Realtor. Have a great day.